Without the discovery of America, Europe would have remained isolated from the vast resources of the New World. The age of exploration might have lost its momentum, stalling the competitive spirit that drove nations to chart new territories. Spain, in particular, would have struggled to establish itself as a global empire, while Portugal might have dominated the scene, focusing solely on expanding its influence in Asia and Africa. The economic and political dynamics of Europe would have shifted dramatically, potentially delaying the rise of colonial powers like England and France. Delving into Columbus's life reveals fascinating details often overshadowed by his achievements. For instance, Columbus was not just a sailor, but also an accomplished cart. What if we told you that Christopher Columbus never discovered America? Imagine a world where this pivotal moment in human history simply never occurred. How would history have unfolded if one of humanity's most significant turning points had never happened? Today, we dive deep into this intriguing question and explore what the world might have looked like without the discovery of the New World. A journey full of unexpected twists and revelations that will keep you on the edge of your seat. In early 1492, Columbus, a Genoese explorer with an audacious dream, stood before Queen Isabella of Castile and King Ferdinand of Aragon. He presented a bold plan to reach the riches of Asia by sailing westward across the uncharted Atlantic Ocean. At the time, the overland routes to Asia were fraught with danger, dominated by intermediaries who made trade exorbitantly expensive. Columbus believed he had the solution, but his calculations severely underestimated the size of the Earth. Despite skepticism, the Spanish monarchs, eager for an edge in the competitive race for global trade, decided to fund his ambitious voyage. Columbus's preparations were meticulous. His fleet, consisting of the Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina, was equipped for a journey into the unknown. These ships carried 120 men, a mix of sailors, adventurers, and even convicts, each driven by a mix of fear and hope. The promise of untold wealth and glory spurred them on, while the specter of a vast empty ocean loomed ominously over them. What drove Columbus himself was not just ambition, but also a profound belief that his mission was divinely ordained, a sentiment he often expressed in his personal writings. But what if fate had intervened differently? Imagine a world where Queen Isabella had refused Columbus's proposal, dismissing it as too risky or impractical. Alternatively, what if the Atlantic's treacherous storms had destroyed his fleet shortly after departure? In such a scenario, the Americas might have remained undiscovered by Europeans for decades, or even centuries. This delay would have dramatically altered the trajectory of global history, leaving Europe without access to the New World's resources and reshaping the balance of power among emerging empires. Geographer who crafted maps with extraordinary precision for his time. His conviction that he was fulfilling a divine mission wasn't merely rhetoric. He saw his voyages as a way to unite the world under Christianity, driven by a fervent religious zeal. However, many of his contemporaries regarded him as a controversial figure, questioning his motives and methods. Let's imagine an alternative timeline where the Americas were discovered not by Columbus but by another explorer. The Norse, for example, had already reached Vinland, modern-day Newfoundland, centuries earlier. But their discoveries failed to spark widespread European interest. Perhaps another nation, like Portugal or England, would have eventually ventured westward, uncovering the New World under very different circumstances. Such a delay would mean that European explorers might have encountered more advanced indigenous civilizations, significantly altering the nature of initial contact and colonization. In this alternate scenario, the Americas might have been discovered a century later, during a time when European technology and knowledge had advanced even further. Innovations such as improved navigation tools, more sophisticated weaponry, and greater maritime expertise could have drastically changed the nature of exploration and colonization. The dynamic between Europeans and indigenous peoples might have taken a different course, potentially leading to more cooperative relationships, or even more destructive conflicts. The economic repercussions of this delay would have been profound. Without the influx of gold and silver from the Americas, Spain would have struggled to finance its wars and maintain its dominance in Europe. The so-called price revolution, driven by the influx of New World wealth, would never have occurred, leading to a slower pace of economic change across the continent. European nations might have turned their focus inward, developing their domestic economies rather than expanding overseas. Cultural exchange would also have taken an entirely different trajectory. The introduction of crops like potatoes, maize, and tomatoes from the New World revolutionized European agriculture, boosting population growth and transforming cuisines. Without these crops, Europe's population growth might have stagnated, delaying industrial and societal advancements. Similarly, indigenous peoples would have been spared the devastating impact of European diseases, which decimated their populations. Speaking of the indigenous peoples, the absence of European colonization would mean that civilizations like the Aztecs, Maya, and Incas could have continued to thrive and evolve. Imagine an alternate world where these cultures reached new heights in architecture, astronomy, and governance, free from external interference. The global cultural heritage we know today would be vastly different, enriched by the undisturbed legacies of these advanced societies. The global political landscape would have been reshaped in countless ways. Major European empires like England, France, and the Netherlands might have redirected their colonial ambitions toward Africa or Asia, intensifying competition in those regions. The absence of American colonies would have meant fewer resources to fuel the industrial revolutions and military expansions of European powers. On the other hand, global conflicts like World War I and II might have unfolded differently, or perhaps not at all. The wealth and resources of the Americas played a crucial role in shaping the 20th century's geopolitical landscape. Without them, the balance of power among nations would have been profoundly altered, potentially preventing some of history's most devastating wars. The impact on science and knowledge cannot be overstated. The discovery of the New World expanded European understanding of geography, biology, and anthropology. Without this knowledge, scientific progress might have been slower, delaying breakthroughs in fields ranging from medicine to agriculture. The world we know today, shaped by centuries of global exchange, would be unrecognizable. Religion, too, would have followed a different path. The rapid spread of Catholicism across the Americas reshaped the religious landscape of the Western Hemisphere. Without European colonization, indigenous religions might have flourished and evolved, creating a spiritual diversity unseen in our timeline. The global influence of Christianity might have been significantly diminished. Globalization, as we understand it, would have been delayed by centuries. The interconnected world economy, driven by the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between Europe, Africa, and the Americas, laid the foundation for modern global trade. Without Columbus's discovery, the pace and nature of globalization would have been entirely different, potentially leading to a more fragmented and less integrated world. In conclusion, the discovery of America was a defining moment in human history, but its absence would have had far-reaching consequences. A world without this event would have been radically different, with both positive and negative implications. While some cultures might have benefited from being left undisturbed, others would have missed opportunities for growth and exchange. This scenario makes us question the nature of progress and its costs. Can we truly call the discovery of America a step forward when it led to the destruction of entire civilizations? Or was it an inevitable chapter in humanity's story, filled with both triumphs and tragedies? If you've enjoyed exploring this fascinating alternate reality, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We delve into the most intriguing what-ifs of history and invite you to join the conversation. What do you think would have changed in a world without the discovery of America? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't hesitate to suggest topics for future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on our channel, where we bring history's biggest what-ifs to life.